Yeah, but there's some stuff in here we actually like. Interview with Groovy. Interviewee with Groovy. American Queen of Music video titled Bob Waters Special Interview. Stevie Groovy is an American success story of the first order. She rose from a disastrous childhood to become one of the most successful and best-loved television personalities of her generation. She is frequently referred to as the spokesperson for Generation Y, the current label in vogue for the hard-working, go-getting 20-something of the turn of the century. The Ys, as the story goes, supposedly refused to assume the victim posture of the previous generation. They scoff at the nihilism of Generation X, and they reject outright the political correct thought police of the early 90s. Jesus. It is easy to see why the media hung the Gen Y label around Stevie's neck. Hard work and ambition, she achieved great success despite having dozens of Montague style? Okay. Excuses for failure. However, Stevie told us she rejects outspoken status, has even refused to use the Generation Y label for some very interesting reasons, as you will see in this interview. Shortly before this interview, Stevie Groovy had one incredible month. She was recipient of numerous television rewards. Her production company posted record-breaking profits. We expect her to be overflowing with stories about the recent milestones in her career. Instead, she never raised the subject and seemed to be unaffected by it. The interview was conducted on a lovely evening at the Groovy Mansion, Stevie's residence. Her mansion is situated high on a hill in San Francisco, in the beautiful Pacific Heights neighborhood. Stevie was slow to talk about her family in early years, but once we turned to the subject of her business, she brightened up like a spotlight in exhibition. Brightened up like a spotlight and exhibited some of the fiery, competitive smarts she is famous for. Hope this interview will help you understand more about amazing Stevie Groovy and provide some insight into the making of an American success story. This game, yeah. This is the 90s. How would you introduce yourself to somebody who has never heard of you? I do that all the time. I say, hello, this is Stevie. But how would you describe yourself? I work too hard. I don't have any time. Also, I'm very lucky. Would you say that you're a top-notch music video producer? I suppose I could get around to that, but of course, my show is mostly made up of material produced by other artists. My real talent is the ability to pick and choose the right material. I carefully analyze potential videos and alone decide what to include on the show. If I do not like it, I will not air it, even if the video is popular. You have a reputation among video producers for paying very well or very little. There doesn't seem to be much in between. I wish I could fill my show with nothing but the most creative and interesting work, but the best is hard to find. I want to encourage the best work by paying top dollar for it. However, I'm faced with filling a show every day, and many times I do have to include video that is good but not the greatest. In most instances, I have to challenge the video artist to do better next time by paying less. If I didn't, I wouldn't get anything done. I wouldn't get anything but mediocre material for my show, and I would soon lose my audience. It's that simple. How did you get started in the industry? I worked for a local TV news show as an on-the-scene reporter for local SF station KGRV. So you stood in front of car wrecks and burning buildings each night? Yes, that was my life for a couple years. You're so popular, they wanted to make you an anchorwoman. Yeah, I spoke with your ex-employer, your old boss at TV News, Bill Pine. He says you refused the anchor position because you wanted to host your own show. He turned you down Is that the way it happened? It sounds about right. He also said that he made the worst mistake of his life by not taking you up on your idea. Oh, that Bill. He's doing fine without me. You must get some satisfaction out of proving him wrong by turning your idea into a big success. I asked them to give me a shot at producing my own video show. I understand why they turned me down. It was a risky proposition. But I am very grateful to Bill for giving me my start in the industry. So you went hunting for investors. Yes, so I could produce a pilot, the first show. How long is this? Oh my god. And you pitched the first show to another local TV station, arrival of Yes, they aired their first groovy hour, and the response was so strong that they signed you up for a whole season. Did you know it would be a success? I had a good feeling about it. I was also prepared to fail. If the show failed, I planned to go into talk radio. But it was not a failure. Within 8 weeks, the show was picked up by syndication giant USA Hyperwire, which launched the show nationally. It was in 1996 on my 13th birthday. Jesus. What a birthday present. Wait, 30th? Sorry. I was going to say 13th. That's not right. It was a very happy birthday. Your studio... Wait, what? You studied radio and television in college. God, this... Yes, I received a degree from SF State University from the Broadcast Communication Arts Department. I concentrated on design and video production. What did you choose to study in San Francisco? I didn't want to leave my favorite city, plus SF State has a good department. And I really wanted to stay close to my family. We're talking about your adoptive family, right? Yes, but I'd rather not refer to them as my adoptive family. They are my family, period. I realized that, but you were legally adopted by the Groovies after your Aunt Sue died. Yes, your Aunt Sue died after you and her were assaulted in Golden Gate Park. Could you tell me about that time? Well, it was a tough time, but I'd rather not talk about this. Sorry to bring up this painful incident, but this tragedy must have a tremendous impact on you. Discovered that evil people do indeed exist in this world, and I would guess that this evil exists only out in the newly discovered dimensions as well. Must have fond memories of your aunt. Yes, my Aunt Sue was a quiet, sweet woman, and I miss her to this day. It was a quiet time. My aunt was a woman. It was a quiet time. My aunt was a woman of few words. I know this is a hard topic for you, but I find your strength remarkable. Here you were, a young girl taking Sunday stroll in the park, and thief robs you both at night, but I could still see the guy as if it were today. The trauma of this incident was too much for Aunt Sue, and she died in the hospital several days later. Yes, she froze up and I never spoke with her again. You had to leave her in the park and run for help. You were a brave girl. It wasn't an act of bravery, but a rescue attempt. Anyone would respond like I did in that situation. Suffered a great deal at such a young age. Your aunt was guardian and only close family member. How did you cope? Listen to the radio. Did you try to locate your older sister, Billie Jean, after your aunt's death? I was 12. Fuck. I was 12 and I had no idea how to locate her. I thought she was in Europe, but I wasn't sure. Been told that shortly after you and your sister moved in with your aunt, your sister ran away to become a fashion model. Yes, she was only 16 years old. 17, but she was beautiful and she looked older. Must have been tough to have your sister leave you so soon after the death of your parents. I was very upset, but we have since made up. Have you spoken to her recently? We were out of contact for many years, but we stay in touch now. She has family in Italy, married, photographer. Hang on. It's annoying too because all this shit gives you clues as to what kind of videos she wants to see. So you do have to kind of do this. Did she run away because she didn't want to live with your aunt or just overcome with the tragedy? She's simply confused, we both were, and I'm happy she found a good life. Your parents were killed in a car accident when you were only 10 years old. How did it happen? This foggy night, they were coming home from the airport after being away for a week. They were hit by a truck coming the wrong way. They were killed instantly. It took me a long time to realize they weren't coming home. That's horrible. What were you feeling? I was feeling pretty bad. I would listen to the radio for hours without speaking to anyone. You've overcome so much. Your parents were killed in a car accident when you were only 10 years old, and then 2 years later your aunt dies. How did those tragedies affect your life? Made me appreciate life. I never take for granted a flower or beautiful sunset again. You have such a positive outlook. Did you learn this from your natural parents? I had great help and support from some very wonderful people over the years. Are you including the Groovy family? Oh yes, they're a big, boisterous, affectionate bunch. I'm very lucky to call them my family. I have five brothers and 6 sisters. Let's talk about your family. I'd rather not open them up to too much discussion. I'm very protective of them. I've been quoted as saying life was like a 50s TV show. They welcomed you into their safe and secure home. All you had been through. Your new parents were both painters. Both very artistic, but in different ways. Mr. Groovy is Victorian house painter in San Francisco. I've read that you and your brother and sister help mix paints in the garage. Yes, there isn't a house Dad painted that could ever be touched up because... Wait. Yes, there isn't a house Dad painted that could ever be touched up because we never wrote down or measured the paint mixtures properly. Okay. So, the abstract artist, yes, I loved your paintings. They're very colorful. Did you learn anything during your life with the Groovy family that helps you produce a TV show? Absolutely, they helped me develop my visual sense, which I have to rely on every day. Stevie, some people say that you may be charming on camera, but behind scenes you're hot-tempered and difficult to work with. Perhaps you've been talking with some of my competitors. Speaking of competitors, what do you think of Hans Kranger? He's a very smart man, but I question his strategy. Tell me more. He thinks he can buy his way anywhere. It has worked fairly well for him thus far, don't you think? He has money to burn, but I think it will backfire. You can't simply buy an audience. There will come a point when he will lose all the money. A guy doesn't have an artistic bone in his body. He always goes for the tried and true, cliched crap. Most of his gains are outside of the US anyways. He goes into a country, buys out a piece of the airwaves, and serves up a steady diet of trite, unimaginative video. Looks like I touched a nerve. Sorry, when it comes to this business, I call it as it is. I keep reading in trades that Kranger is going to knock us off the charts, but I've been hearing this for a year now, and he hasn't made a dent in the USA. Have you been watching Yuji Dude out of Japan? Of course, he's an interesting but wacky show. He's got an interesting but wacky show. Yeah, he rules Japan, but I'm not sure how well he will play in the West. I've met him. I think he's great, but I don't think the Groovy Hour will lose an audience to his show. You've been saddled with Generation Y in the media. How do you respond to this? Generation Y is a pile of marketing hype, just like the so-called Generation X was. Generation X was a fabrication. It does not exist as a cohesive summary of that generation. The youth of the late 80s and early 90s were not slackers, as they were reportedly told. They were busy achieving everything they have today. Now supposedly we have the Ys, the anti-slackers. What a load of nonsense. Perhaps the Ys are a little more ambitious than the Xers, but all of our polling has shown that there's very little difference between the attitudes, goals, and work ethics of both generations. Why do you think the media grabs onto these labels? As a handy way to package advertising themes with transitional nostalgia. I think you're going over my head on this one. Okay, let me explain this. Number one, journalism. Journalists need something to write about. This provides a hook and a bandwagon to jump on and churn out stories. Number two, it takes about a decade to develop a nostalgia for the media of your teenage years. Number three, this is a huge co-marketing relationship between the journalistic media and the entertainment media. Journalists fan the flames of nostalgia every few years by writing articles disguised as generational analysis. The advertisers step in and buy the rights to the songs and the music, and the video companies open up their catalogs and have a selling spree. Everybody wins, that's how it works. I don't have anything against it, but please don't call me the spokesperson for this process. Okay, let's change the subject. What do you see... What do you see on the horizon, CV? What does the future hold for you? I am hopeful that we will one day be able to tap into dimensions somehow, but I don't think that will happen anytime soon. It is still too dangerous out there, and you have to endure a life-sapping 6-week coma each way. But meanwhile, I'm looking forward to breaking some new ground in the interactive arena. I'm teaming up with our local interactive powerhouse, Pop Rock, Inc., we'll be announcing our collaboration on some interactive music video projects very soon. I and the rest of your devoted audience will be looking forward to hearing about that, and of course, we'll be tuning into Groovy Hour Daily. Thank you very much, and thank you for taking time for this interview. It was a pleasure speaking with you and your readers. I hope you will be kind and try not to twist my words. 32, San Francisco parties, mail order shopping, kickboxing, hang gliding, and mystery novels. Sushi, sugar, cookies, wines, and Caesar salad. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ, get me out of here. All I've done is read! Get away from this. Elevator? Up. This is where we make the music. Music videos. This is where we get the food. I'll take pumpernickel. Lox, pepperoni, pepper jack, do a tomato, and pickle. Wait, let's do, nah, that works, make it. Oh. We'll pack this one up. And then make me another one, but on wheat toast with bacon, Swiss cheese, lettuce, catsup, ketchup. And then I'll eat this now.
Yum, yum.
Okay. Where's the drinky thing? Oh.
Yeah!
Crazy Ultra Super Mega CD-ROM. Roasted coffees. Holy Latte, the world's greatest. Smart camera for the true video professional. Pure digital video power. Jump cut. VidCam. That's the water. Or not the water, the beverage. Which it could be water. We're gonna do... Where's coffee? And we're gonna do coffee. And we're gonna do coffee. Coffee. You don't have enough food, Goo. Holy shit, that went fast. Oh, it takes an odd number. It's kind of annoying. Or wait, it takes... How much did I have? I had 10. It takes 6? Jesus. That's a lot, man. I guess what's our stats look like after that? The mental energy is still low. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no! You're now leaving the state of distortion. Want more? PopRock.com. I didn't mean to do that.
Ooh, yeah.
Macromedia. Macromedia? Shit, that's old. Well, of course it's old. What else was made by Macromedia? That's very familiar. But you know what? That was a mistake, but I think I'm gonna say fuck it for today and call it quits here. But yeah, we learned some stuff. I didn't save the game either, but that's good because we didn't really do anything. We have information, and that's about it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a good one, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.